In this video, dancehall artist Buju Banton is giving his opinion on the way the Jamaican government is treating people in the right for them to defend themselves. Let's just get into the video.
Greetings, people of the world. This is Buju Banton, the first and original Maroon. Buju means breadfruit in a Maroon language. In the most recent times, like today, the Jamaica Observer published an article stating that the Maroon chief is in breach of the Jamaica Firearms Act, which he clearly says a blatant ploy by the Jamaican crime minister to hurt this young man and hurt many of us who stand up and see the blatant wickedness and criminality being perpetrated by the Jamaican politicians and the Jamaican populace. Here in Jamaica, the criminals have more guns than the legal, lawful people in this country. The criminals run around one time. We have police criminal, soldier criminal, all kind of criminal. And our crime minister's friends are the biggest criminal, and they have all the guns in this country. So when you want to label a chief as having an illegal weapon because you want to destroy him and destroy his credibility, yes, it is not right. I want the world to keep a close look at this, because you see that our crime minister has just tried to pass a legislation that illegal firearm holders, the people who have illegal gun, then to get life in prison or them to kill them on spot. We don't put anything past these criminals. So therefore, they are the real criminals who are running this country with a criminal grip, because they are criminal masterminds. And this is another ploy with criminal intent to hurt another citizen of this country, and we're putting it on blast. Thank you.
Buju Banton there with his opinion on, what's transpiring in Jamaica in terms of how people are allowed legally to protect and defend themselves. On a more upbeat note, I want to introduce you to this comedy. Africans doing a bit of comedy, sort of making light of how Jamaicans artists in particular, produce music and how they, how they sound on the record. Very, very funny. Check this out.
Yeah. See it? The reggae is coming up. Then the person playing the guitar, the lead guitar, he has a bigger problem. It's called multiple ndralulu in random motion. Anything he plays will enter. Just watch what I mean. Are you ready? Okay, solo. Is this normal? Is it normal? A normal human being? And then the person that has the biggest problem is the person playing the drum. I nearly caught you into problem now. This one plays like when madness hits you from the village. It doesn't come immediately. It comes slowly, then graduates to real madness. So when you play, you hear something like ba, brakata, then graduate to real madness. Watch what I mean. Okay, a one, a two. Is this not reggae music? Okay, you just joined with the madness. Continue, join your own. This is they'll now say something that you'll never understand in your life. They'll say something like this. They'll look at you and say, some say it's la, some say whoa. You know what I'm saying? You know me that hey. Rasta fried rice last year ate it, but it's scatter. Rude boy. Then they start a sentence they'll never complete. They'll do something like this. Watch. They'll say, I said that. They'll go. And when he does this thing and throw his head backwards, The eye will clear, the wit will clear. He will see the crowd. Out of surprise, he wants to shout, "Chai!" But he will cut the shouting, so you will not know. It will not become musical shout. So once he does that and sees the crowd, instead of shouting "Chai," he will shout, "Cho cho 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 cho." Then he's thinking, what do I sing about? He remembers the day he's walking down the road, hit his leg on stone. That is the music. And he'll sing it like this. Run it for me. Just the other day, I say just the other day, I say just the other day. Oh gosh, why is he repeating it? I say just the other day. So to further confuse you, you say ew, 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 ew. Hey. Now at this time, he's thinking, the backup singers, if you don't invite them, they invite themselves with the singing. They'll continue. So I decided to go and meet my friend. I didn't know there was a stone on the floor. So I hit my leg on stone. Join the backup. If you smoke weed, I hit my leg on stone. See which smokers. I hit my leg on stone. I say I hit my leg on stone. After that, what happened? To end the music, they shout, "Will selector, will!"
Come on, don't tell me that wasn't funny. I found it funny. But there's a few things I want to say in response to the comedy sketch we've just seen. Now, for starters, the musicians in this particular sketch are very well accomplished musicians. You can tell that they are very good at producing authentic sounding reggae music. Something that's actually lacking in Jamaica. Not my words, I've seen videos of, young artists saying they don't have access or easy access to the more traditional classical sound of reggae and dancehall music. So what they have to do is turn to YouTube and turn to other, sort of sources where they get this sort of trap dancehall type of sound, which is very closely sounding like hip hop, which is a sort of a blending and meshing of genres, which is what you don't want. You want a clear distinction between the two. One influences the other, but you don't want them sounding the same. And that's what's happening with the way music has evolved in Jamaica right now in terms of the dancehall scene. The music sounds very much like hip hop, even, sort of have that kind of a drill type of beat to it as well, which is, to me, is a mistake. But at the same time, I'm not going to knock the use, because music is something that evolves over time. Each generation the music evolves. So I'm not here to bash or to knock the younger artists. I'm just hearing what they're saying, and what I hear some of them saying is that they don't have the traditional classical authentic sound that gives you that longevity. Longevity is the type of sound where that comes from the sort of the 80s and the 90s type of dancehall music. What the complaint I hear as well is that the older producers that know how to make these authentic classical type of dancehall music and reggae music are not embracing the use in terms of the producers and passing on the skill to them. It's one of those situations where when they are passed and gone, the skill will be gone with them, which is sad. So then they have to turn to the internet to get the more drill beat and the more hip hop type of beat, which is what is being coined as trap dancehall or trap reggae or whatever it was. I think it's trap dancehall anyway. That is a mistake. Whilst in Africa, these people in Africa, hats off to them. They have taken reggae music and they've come up with their own Afrobeat and all this type of thing, which is huge. The other thing is their producers are producing authentic reggae. I mean, this is just a short little sketch, and look how quickly these guys, these musicians, could quickly give authentic sounding reggae just on a comedy situation. So imagine if these guys put their head together and they say, right, we're gonna seriously now take over reggae and just start to produce really classical sound. I'm sure they're doing that already. Jamaica won't be able to compete because apart from the handful of producers who produce this type of music, no one else is there for the skill to be passed on to. And I think that's a mistake. And I think that's where the culture needs to sort of examine themselves, and the older producers now need to, for whatever reason, stop being the gatekeeper. Pass on your skill to the next generation, the newer generation of producers, so they can keep the torch going. It's no point you just blaming them for trap music, but at the same time you're not willing to show them and teach them and expose to them the techniques and everything that's involved in producing the more classical, authentic type of reggae and dancehall music, so they can carry the baton on to the next generation. So I think before you blame the newer generation, the younger people, the older people need to look into themselves and see the mistakes they're making. And providing you correct your mistakes, when you pass the baton on, then you've done your job, you've done your bit. And with that, I think I'll end it here.